I'm a 27-year-old woman, and I grew up in a household where I was never really wanted. My mother made that clear from the moment I could understand words. She wasn't outright cruel in the way you see in movies. There were no harsh insults or physical punishments. But there were small, calculated ways she let me know I wasn't important. I was a burden, an afterthought. My younger brother, on the other hand, was treated like royalty. From the time he was born, it was obvious I was just an accessory in his life. If he wanted a toy, he got it. If I wanted something, I was being ungrateful. If he cried, my mother dropped everything to comfort him. If I cried, I was being dramatic. He was never expected to lift a finger, while I was constantly told to help out because I was the older sibling. That meant cooking, cleaning, and making sure he was taken care of, something that became my full responsibility once I hit my teenage years. It didn't stop at home. My mother had this way of making sure I never had too much freedom. Every opportunity I got, she found a way to take it from me. If I wanted to join a club at school, suddenly I had too many responsibilities at home to make time for it. If I wanted to go out with friends, she would say she didn't feel well and needed me to stay home. And scholarships, the ones I worked so hard for, she refused to sign the necessary paperwork, claiming I was being selfish for wanting to leave. And my father? He just let it happen. He never raised his voice, never disagreed with her. The rare times he tried to intervene, she would throw a fit, and he would back off immediately. It was easier for him to stay silent than to fight for me. The manipulation was constant. If I ever pushed back, my mother would turn on the waterworks. She'd tell family members how difficult I was, how much she had sacrificed for me, how I never appreciated her. Then I'd get calls from aunts and uncles telling me to be nicer to my poor mother. By the time I turned 18, I was done. I left home for college the second I could, even though it meant struggling financially. My parents refused to support me, so I worked multiple jobs just to get by. It was exhausting, but it was still better than living under her thumb. That's when I met Diane. Diane was my best friend's mom, and she was everything my mother wasn't. Warm, supportive, encouraging. It started small, inviting me over for dinner when she knew I was skipping meals to save money, giving me little bits of advice when I felt lost. But over time, she became the mother I never had. She celebrated my wins, helped me through my losses, and never once made me feel like a burden. And my actual mother? She hated it. At first, she brushed it off, acting like it was ridiculous that I was spending time with some random woman. But as the years went by, and Diane's role in my life became more obvious, my mother got more aggressive. She started making snide comments whenever I mentioned Diane. If I posted about her on social media, my mother would leave passive-aggressive comments or text me things like, "Glad to see you found a real mother. Don't forget who raised you." She never invited me home for the holidays, but if I spent them with Diane's family, she acted like it was a betrayal. But I was thriving without her. I worked hard, graduated, and landed a stable job. My life was finally mine, and I wasn't going to let her guilt me back into that toxic cycle. Diane, meanwhile, never once pushed me to choose between her and my mother. Over time, Diane had started referring to me as her daughter more and more. It wasn't a single moment, but a gradual shift, first in private, then with friends, and finally at a family gathering where she casually introduced me as, "Oh, this is my daughter." She didn't hesitate. She didn't add a disclaimer. And for the first time, I felt like it was true. Not like a daughter, just daughter. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. The moment my mother found out, let's just say, she didn't take it well. It didn't take long for my mother to find out. A few days after Diane introduced me as her daughter at the family gathering, my phone lit up with a call from my mother. I stared at the screen for a second.